Hello, welcome to my channel. Here is a beautiful video and I made this elegant and classy peplum top. It's easy. First I cut the peplum. For this video I'll be using the plus size measurement. I've sewn the small size, the medium size, so I'm sharing the video of the plus size because you might have a little bit of difficulty or dilly-dally when you want to cut the waist for the plus size one. So that's the more reason I'm sharing this video. Maybe it might be helpful for somebody out there. So for this particular person's waist, our waist is 43, and I'll be multiplying that by 2 because of the box pleats or the pleats I have in the peplum. So that's 86 divided by 3.14. That is how I get my circumference to cut out the circle. And the length of the peplum I used 10. So now we are cutting the bodice of the cape. For a small size measurement, it's quite easy. You just draw the length you want from your shoulder to your waist length. Then just like I've done in this one, for this one I'm using 17, so plus 1 inch, so that I'll have half inch up and half inch down to join the shoulders and to join the waist measurements. And for the neck I'm using 4 inches by 4 inches, and for the back I just went up by 1.5 inch. So for the back of this person, our back is 18, that's 9. I won't be adding any half inch. Instead I'll come in by half inch to make sure that the shoulder falls exactly. So to make sure that the shoulder falls exactly where you want it to be. So for this type of bodies, we don't need the bust measurement. We go straight to the waist. The waist for this particular measurement I'm using is 43 divided into 4, that's 10.75. So I'll add half inch allowance. Usually it doesn't get confusing if it were a smaller size, because waist is usually even smaller than the shoulder length. Maybe we have like 28, which will be 7 or thereabout, but this one, the waist is a little bit more than the shoulder. That's the more reason I'm sharing the video. It might be helpful for somebody because you still have to follow the waist measurement as it is. So now I'll just trace this out and I'll cut it out. First I'll cut the back, then I'll cut the rest of it. I'm sorry, my camera angle is a little bit not on the right side. So for the neck, I'll remove the back that I've cut. So I'll now cut the front too. Then I'll mark 3 inches upwards from the center of the front bodice, so that I'll use it to open. I'll know where to stop to open it up. You know, there's like a collar vent or something on the edge, but it's not really, it's just an opening in the front. So I will not cut it out yet because I want to iron on paper stay. So after ironing on the paper stay, then I will slit it open, measuring 3 inches upwards. So this is what I have, the back and the front. I place this on my lining fabric and I cut it out. Likewise the back too, I did the same. I ironed on the paper stay on the peplum and on the Ankara bodice too. You can iron on the lining too if you wish. So now I'm cutting the waistband. It has a band of, mine is 2 inches, so I measure 3 inches, so I'll use half to join it down and half to join it up. So for the sewing, first I sew the shoulders separately. I joined the shoulder of the Ankara together and the shoulder of the, then I slit it open. Then in that center I measured 3 inches up, and I sewed the center together. Then I notched it. You can see I have not stitched the neck part yet. I just joined, and I joined the sides together. My band, I joined it to the Ankara peplum separately. Then I turned the Ankara inside out. You can see I have ironed it. You can see where I joined the front together. It's making sense now. Then I've joined the sides too. But the back, I've not joined it at all. For the back, I will sew like 5 inches down. You see? Then iron down my zip allowance. So first, let's get it done with our peplum. So I joined the band to the main Ankara bodice, and I did the same with the lining too. There are different ways to do this. You see, for the lining from the waist part, I left ½ inch so that I can use it to join the lining and the distance. So after doing that, I now join the Ankara and the lining together, the lining peplum down and the down parts. So the sides are still open at the back. The zip area is still open. This is one method of doing this. There's another method. Another method is you join everything together. Like that waist part, you don't join the what's it called, the band separately. You join the band together. I will show you with another one that I've done. So first I attach the zip to the Ankara fabric. As you can see, I sew it on the Ankara. Now I turned it from down and placed the lining on it. Now I'll sew it. I'm starting from the down part, so I'll sew it on it now. So I sew it down on it. Still following the sewing, the line on the Ankara. So I did both sides like that. I will turn it outside now, so but what I'm saying will make sense now. You can see this is the inside part and this is the outside. This is what it looks like on the outside seam and in the inside seam. So the zip allowance will be tucked inside. That's the more reason I joined the peplum to the lining separately and to the Ankara separately, so that it will be easy for me to sew. So this is what it looks like after sewing the whole thing. The zip is concealed inside. But for this method, there's a lot of challenges, like the peplum, the pleats on the peplum I pleated the lining separately and I pleated the Ankara separately. So there's a lot of moving here and there for that area, but it looks nice. So now before I will measure the neck area so that I'll cut out the collar. So you measure what you have here. Once that is done, you with what you have unfold. So I cut out the collar. So for this one, I'll be using 10.5 or 11.5 rather by so I added half-inch allowance to sew it together. So by 2 inches. So measure the 2 inches down. And cut out. So I'll go and iron a paper stay on both sides. I have 2 pieces. So I ironed the paper stay on both sides. I've ironed paper stay on. So now I'll join it first at the edge up and sew the sides too with that half-inch that I left at the beginning. Then curve it a little at the tip. So I sew the top part and I notch the curved areas. So it's easy to turn to the other side and go and iron it to press it down. So now, starting from the right side, both lining and Ankara together, I'll place the collar on it like this and sew. So this is, you can see what I'm sewing on. So now the other part that I ironed half-inch inside and fold, that part will be inside. So now we'll fold it in now, tuck the seam of the collar part of the bodice part inside the collar like this, and we'll sew that too. So this is the way we'll sew it. You can see it's looking all neat now. So that's it for the collar. So this is what it looks like. The zipper is inside. So the other method that I was talking about, I first sew the peplum together. I top stitch. Then both the lining and the fabric, I joined it together. So the seam is outside. And because I don't want to use a serger, I cut the lining fabric. I used it to form like a bias. So I used it to pipe the whole thing. And for this method, my zip allowance is outside. I sew everything together. I didn't sew zip to the Ankara first, then later to the lining. No, I sew it once and for all together. So that's the difference of this method. So I put it on a body so you can get a better picture of what I'm talking about. This method is better for this type of peplum because, you know, it has a lot of pleats. But if it's a peplum without pleats, that second method is best. But for this peplum with pleats, this method is better. You can use serger to sew that allowance that you sew outside. Use it to serge it to keep it neat inside. So I put the other one too on the mannequin. So you can see that this one, the peplum on the inside seam, is looking here and there somehow. That's why I'm saying this method is not too good if your peplum has pleats. But if you have peplum without pleats, it's best.